do not trust that your leading man is a grump just because he wears black leather and looks really hot doing so.
Clothing color does not equal temperament.
We're Heather and Natalie, the Romance Rippers, romance addicts and authors. We're here to help you craft stories that leave your readers begging for more. This is the time to get that story out of your head and give book lovers the emotionally satisfying ships they crave. Now let's get to the heart of romance.
Would you agree with this?
Yeah.
We are experts. Hi guys, it's Heather.
And Natalie.
We're the Romance Rippers.
Welcome back.
Today we are talking about one of the most popular tropes that comes in romance genre, which is the Grump and Sunshine couple combination. It is a trope that has been around, I would say, in perpetuity. It is really big with books like Pride and Prejudice. You have your Elizabeth Bennet, the Sunshine, and your Mr. Darcy, the really grouchy Grump. And it's just a really juicy combination, and we're going to go over what makes a Grump or what makes a Sunshine and how we can utilize that as authors to make that polarity with our characters that we really enjoy and is really fun for readers to read.
It's definitely one of my favorite tropes. I like it with Grump Woman and Sunshine Man personally, but I also love a good Grump Man and a Sunshine Woman.
It can be done in so many different ways. I feel like it's probably one of the most versatile tropes that is out there when it comes to creating chemistry with your characters.
Definitely one of the most popular tropes, and once you really understand what it is, you're going to see it in almost every piece of media you consume.
When it comes to Grumps versus Sunshines, the main difference that we have found over the years is the difference in worldview that these characters have. And that usually can be distilled to the very simple idea of Grumps are like internal processing versus Sunshines who are often external processors.
This is different specifically from like introvert and extrovert, because introverts, they need time to recharge alone. Extroverts recharge when they're out in the world. This is about how people process information, how they process their feelings.
And it can look very different, again, when you're starting to layer on things like extroversion or introversion and other factors that make your characters feel like full humans versus just a trope, which I think that can be a hard thing to do sometimes in tropes that you really enjoy, but you want that fullness of character, and when you're working with Sunshines and Grumps, it's a really good place to start.
We want to clarify that in this episode we will only be discussing the specific Grump and Sunshine trope, and see the Grumpy and Sunshine trope as a separate category that has a lot more to do with mood versus the deeper base temperaments that we're talking about here. Thus, you can sometimes have a grumpy Sunshine and a cherry Grump, where that has a lot more to do with the mood of the moment or the mood of the season of their life versus what they're like in processing.
Today we're going to first start off with the Sunshine heroines. A lot of heroines in a lot of romances are Sunshine women. Good ways to identify Sunshine female heroines is they are usually have open communication styles, especially within them paired within the main couple of your story. They usually tend to be collaborative, like to bounce ideas off of others, or need to talk through their thoughts or ideas to reach final decisions or truly process them. And that is what we're talking about with an external processor, and how they are interacting with the world and their place within it.
They are often very expressive with their faces, their bodies, and they find it easier to talk about their emotions, at least surface level, compared to their Grump counterparts. Traditionally, a lot of main female characters are Sunshines. They're bubbly, friendly, generally positive, and sometimes kind of naive. There is also often an aspect of performance on their part, competitions with others of similar temperament. You can think Caroline Bingley and Elizabeth Bennet. Sunshines often like to have the last word and can sometimes get themselves into trouble because of this, which is very fun. They are usually plucky, needing to prove themselves to others, and just having a can-do attitude.
I would say we came to a quintessential example of the sunshine character, which would be Belle from Beauty and the Beast. She really embodies a lot of the attributes we've described here. She's plucky, she's quite forthright, she's very open with her emotions in even moments of where she's feeling like there's a lack of justice potentially, or being more than happy to scold off this giant beastly looking man because he's not acting right. And I just love her as a sunshine protagonist.
For our grumps, the internal processors, they often need more time to process information, thoughts, and emotions in solitude. You're a lot more likely to find your loner lead man to be a grump instead of a sunshine. Grumps can also sometimes have a really hard time expressing what they're thinking out loud, especially coherently. I am a grump. I really have I can say things out loud. It sometimes comes out really messy. And Mr. Darcy is a great example of this when you think about his proposal to Elizabeth. Talk about a mess. I feel for you,
Absolutely
bro.
a mess.
They also can take longer to respond to questions or ideas if it doesn't like immediately hit a gut response of yes or no. They need uh, that time, and they don't really need the same external validation.
I would say, especially for if one identifies as a sunshine, as I do, grumps can also come off as quite gruff, or closed off or unapproachable because they process their own emotions and the world around them so differently from how sunshines do. So it feels like there's a bit of a wall sometimes, which can create fun things again for you to play with your characters when it's a romantic couple. And this also usually means that most grumps aren't usually what one would consider charming. That's usually more the space for the sunshine. They usually have this factor of being an enigma, a mystery, which can be quite compelling for a reader or your sunshine lead to feel like they can work at and see what's beneath that potentially more unapproachable surface.
Like we talked about, Mr. Darcy is a prime example of a grump man, and he's one that sunshine women everywhere swoon over, even though he's awkward, even though he can be kind of mean and standoffish. Underneath all of that grump exterior is a soft heart who loves Elizabeth deeply. Who doesn't love a good grump man whose normal way of speaking is in one syllable or sometimes less? Hello, grunting men. Like looking at you, Geralt. Having to confess love, having to be open and say a lot of words about how much they love you.
It's usually in verbal diarrhea. Again, like you pointed out with Mr. Darcy, it's not a well spoken love confession, but the earnestness is what really I adore in Grump's both characters and also real people.
Next, we have the internal processing grump heroine, the woman who is the grump. And she can be called the black cat. So if you've heard about the black cat on the internet, this is usually what they're talking about. Sometimes she can be mistaken as an ice queen or a bitch. The grump woman is, at least in our experience, very underutilized and misunderstood as a character, much like the Sunshine Man is.
Especially within romance leads in particular. I think, if you want to go check out our video about monstrous women, we do touch on they are often used for villain roles. And again, like you said, there is a lot of area that isn't being touched on within the romance genre of having these type of characters, sunshine men and grump women, as being the leads and getting the happily ever after. And how do you get there with different types of characters? And again, female grumps are very much like their male counterparts with how they process things, being very internal. They are often very frank and don't need as much external validation as, say, a sunshine heroine might feel like she needs to feel validation. They can also have quite thick, protective emotional walls, just like the grump men can have, that they're trying to protect their hearts. Usually, I find a lot of grumps are smushes on the inside. And, you know, it's very, I think, healing for both writers and readers to see these stories of characters who have built up those walls, have built up those protections because they've been hurt before, because their heart is so smushy, is so soft, and they're wanting to try to protect that and protect themselves, and getting to see them fall in love and find someone who they can trust. That softness within themselves is very compelling and I think very beautiful.
Grump women are much rarer in romance stories, especially today. And there is a tendency when authors write them to, when they fall in love, like once these grump women have hit the point where they realize they're in love, they lighten them into a sunshine. They change their temperament completely. And that's not how they're still going to be an internal processor. They're still going to do things different ways. They're going to look happier because they can trust and they feel loved. But that's not the same thing as them becoming a sunshine external processing heroine. Primary example of a grump woman in fiction is Katniss Everdeen from The Hunger Games. And although The Hunger Games isn't a romance for like first book, there is a heavy plot line with her with Peeta, and the author does a really good job at capturing what a grump woman is and letting her fall in love and keeping her a grump woman throughout that series.
We are going to talk about the Golden Retrievers, or the Sunshine Men. Again, these are characters who are external processors, just like the Sunshine Women. It just looks different usually because they are a masculine character. Something we have found over the years is do not trust that your leading man is a grump just because he wears black leather and looks really hot doing so.
Clothing color does not equal temperament.
We don't recommend categorizing any character just based off of the aesthetics or visuals or vibe that they are presenting themselves with. Often this presentation when you first meet a character is potentially incorrect as well, or misleading, because this is how they want you to see who they are. And it's usually never that when you're first meeting a character. That's the first controlled impression you're getting.
I would say especially with the Sunshine Man too, because there are cultural and societal expectations on men and how men are supposed to be. And also if you're like dealing with a character who's in any kind of role of power, he's gonna present himself maybe in a different way. Right now, shadow daddies are very popular. A lot of them are actually Sunshine Men. And they wear black and they're mysterious and they're powerful and they're a little scary.
And they talk a lot.
Mm-hmm. They're way too charming to be a grump man.
Sunshine Men are usually easily recognized by how dashing they are. While grump men can be enigmas, which it has its own draw, the Sunshine Man has a panache with how he goes about life that a grump male lead just does not have. And it often also can be a character who's silver-tongued.
They are bold and energetic and charming. Sometimes often dangerously charming, depending on what he does. This charm particularly can be an asset, but it can also be a Sunshine Man's downfall when he's paired with an internal processing grump woman who sees this brashness, sees all this silver tongue charm as being fake. And so when he falls in love and he tries to present himself in love, she doesn't believe him.
Questioning of who are you really? And of course, this isn't always the case with all Sunshine Men. You also have the Sunshine Men who are, I would say, belovedly labeled golden retrievers. Steve Rogers from Captain America, Kronk from The Emperor's New Groove.
I've loved Kronk since I was 10 years old.
I think you always will.
I love Golden Retriever Sunshine Men. I'm not as much about the Silver Tongue Shadow Daddies.
Golden Retriever Sunshine Men are usually extremely loyal. They have oodles of integrity and can be really idealistic. That idealism sometimes can also get them into trouble, but it looks usually very different from a Grump man where it's more rooted in nobility. And there's a lot of similarities, but it comes out very differently in a Grump man versus a Sunshine Man.
The Sunshine Man is an external processor, so he often makes his idealism known through not just his actions but his words, whereas the Grump Man, you don't always know even what he believes. He just suddenly stick his feet in the sand and refuse to move.
This is the difference between like Steve Rogers. He is Captain America. Like there is that inherent patriotism, nobility that's built within that character versus say a Grump like Batman.
The way that they present themselves is completely different. You have no questions about what Captain America believes. Sometimes you might want to know, if you don't know Batman, his masked aura might come across as questionable, but he is still extremely noble. Grump men don't make great mascots. Sunshine men make great mascots.
This is a really good distinction. I love this.
So for a Sunshine Man, we have chosen Rhysand from the Akatar series. He is the birth of the Shadow Daddy, wears all black, very powerful, very dangerous. He talks a lot. He's very charming. He's very external. And he is paired against Feyre, who is a Grump woman. And you get to play with that dance that they have together.
They have instant tension and chemistry because they see the world so differently, and not just because he's Fae and she's human, right, or he's a man and she's a woman. It's literally how they process the world.
Because when they're in their first interaction together in the first Akatar book, as soon as he steps in her field, everything changes. You can feel it as a reader.
And that is the draw of the Sunshine Grump dynamic. Mm-hmm. And it can be addictive.
It's very addictive. It's why it's so popular. It's why we love it. Grumps and Sunshines as a couple have so many options. There are so many ways to play with the different dynamics with these kind of pairings. And the joy of an author, specifically with a trope this big, is that you can do it over and over and over again, and it can look different every single time. I primarily write Grump women and Sunshine men. I have no my list of options is so long I'll never run out.
Same, or even literally with a Sunshine Grump traditional combination, you can literally write the same couple and story over and over again, and people will also gobble that up because they know they can come to you for consistency, which is also valid.
Yeah, you've got authors like Ali Hazelwood, or that's one that just comes to mind now, who has written the same combo in different ways over and over again, and she is wildly successful.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because she always gives her readers what they're expecting, and there's nothing more sometimes you need to do, actually, because you've earned your readers' trust. And I think that is potentially one of the most important things you can endeavor to do as a romance genre writer, is earning your audience's trust that you are going to deliver them a happily ever after, and that this isn't a romantic tragedy instead.
And if you're somebody like us who's very drawn to Grump and Sunshine, like Heather and I categorize almost every couple we ever see in these terms. We figure out which one we think they are, or if they're a Grump and Grump or a Sunshine and Sunshine, why that works, why that doesn't.
We've identified our pets as Grumps versus Sunshines. It's a fun exercise, honestly.
It is a fun exercise. And when you But as an author, if you like to play with this specific trope, and you decide, you don't have to do the same all the time. But if you, like Allie Hazelwood, know that you like Grump men and Sunshine women, and you figure out a fun way to change up those formulas, you can write you're gonna have such fan base.
Speaking of all the ways that you can do this trope, what is one of your favorite ways? Are you someone who really likes your grumpy male leads and your sunshine female heroines? Do you like uh, the inverse with the grump women and sunshine men? Do you like sunshine on sunshine? We would love to hear it.
Thank you so much for joining us this week. We were super happy to have you, and we will see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us today. Like this video if you found it helpful, and subscribe for more romance writing tips and tea on Thursdays. You can also find us on other socials at The Romance Rippers. And before you go, share one of your tried and true romance writing tips below. We'll see you soon.